I'm Dennis Hacking. My sister Laura asked me if I would tell a few of the family stories, put them on this videotape. I had to go borrow a video camera from the neighbors, got my little remote control right here so I can turn the camera on and off. And it's going to be an experiment to see if it works. This is my room in our home where I have my computer, kind of my little office at home. And I made a few notes here to kind of go along, and I'll be telling about our family. And really the theme that I'm going to be addressing is how in the world did we end up in the deserts of Utah. I'm going to focus my remarks on my 8 great-grandparents. Now these great-grandparents are not just mine, but they're also those for Laura, Margie, and Sarah, and Uncle Joe. Now, for those who are in the next generation, Doak, he would have not only these 8 as ancestors, but he would have an additional 8 from the Chew side. And if you go down to the next generation, there would be 32, and these 8 would only be 1/4 of all the ancestors that they would have. So in each of your own families, you need to kind of sort out how you're related to these 8 people. But I tell you, these 8 people played an important role in your life. And I'm going to try to tell you some of the stories associated with it. But first of all, I'd like to say congratulations to my sister Laura and my brother-in-law Dean for being married for 50 years. What a tremendous accomplishment. I remember 50 years ago, I was an 11-year-old boy, and their wedding was a big event in my life. I remember Grandpa Farron painting a big lattice work that he erected in the backyard as a backdrop for where they would be married. This later became the connection between the shanty and the feed house, and it was part of our lives from then on. But I was just thinking here today that I remember that night after they were married on our back lawn, they went down to the major chapel, and there they held a wedding reception. And they held a dance, and during the dance, suddenly Dean danced out the door with Laura, and out the door they went, and they got into a little Mercury car and drove off for their honeymoon. Now what a difference. 50 years later, they could not load their family in a little car, but yet they had to get a bus to haul their family around. Although I'm going to be talking about the Hacking side of the family, I would like to first just make a few remarks with regard to the Chew side, because I greatly admired many things about Dean and his family. And I'd just like to make a few of those comments here today. The Chew family was very much different than the Hacking family. Number one, they were generally associated with the cattle business, where the Hacking family were often associated with the sheep industry. But there were many things they were common. The Chew family was a very hard-working family. Dean and his parents, Doug and Eleanor Chew, and the rest of their family, every single one that I knew, were some of the hardest working people I've ever met. And it took people like this in order to carve the homes that we have out of this wilderness desert that we found ourselves planted in. Their family worked very hard, and I know Dean has continued that legacy through the years to work hard for the benefit of his family. Also, another thing about the Chew family, they were men and women of their word. They were honorable people, and they were honest. I'll tell you, this is a great trait that we don't always find in people around the world, but these pioneers that built the Ashley Valley, including both the Hacking side of the family and the Chew side, they were the type of people you could depend upon. When they gave you their word, they followed through with it. I've got some notes here that I'm going to be talking about, so hopefully you won't be too disturbed when I look around. I've got some books that I'm going to make reference to. I'll tell you where I get this information from. And but one thing I do want to say right at the beginning, that the Hacking side of the family, every single one of our great-grandparents were tied in with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It was their history, and the church history is parallel one to the other. So I will be making quite a few comments here with regard to the pioneers coming west, the Mormon pioneers, because it is their story as well as the church's history. And also, since today is the 24th of July, and person who lives in Utah know that's a state holiday where they celebrate Pioneer Day. So it's very fitting that maybe we talk about these families. Now, I'm going to, as I give this little program, I'm going to stop now and then and interrupt myself. And I'm going to hold up a trophy. This is one that Grandpa Farron earned when in the fox business. But I'll let this be my symbol. When I hold this up, if Aunt Laura chooses to interrupt my program because she thinks it's getting a little bit boring, she can turn it off for a while, because that would be a good place to break the story, and then I will start with another chapter basically after that. So I'm going to turn you off now, and then we will start with the Hacking family, John Sampson Hacking and Jane Clark, and we'll talk to you then. Okay, see you later.